Sisters, how y'all feel? Brothers, y'all all right?
Hey, what's up, you guys? It's your girl A.Renee here, and I'm just coming to you today for episode number 3 of His Story Her Way. So, I decided to wait until after Valentine's Day to just talk about the idea of self-love. And the reason why I wanted to discuss the idea of self-love is because, first and foremost, that's the most important thing. Because what we are, or what we feel internally, we're able to give out for others, right? And I thought after Valentine's Day would be a really good time to throw it in there, because I know a lot of times we have these expectations of what Valentine's Day is supposed to look like for us and how much of a Hallmark holiday it is. So it's glamorized by roses and flowers and cards and sincerity. Now, I'm here for all of those things because that's just some things that a lot of women do love, a lot of men love, and a lot of people appreciate, period, right? But what about the people that didn't receive anything, right? What about the people that didn't necessarily celebrate Valentine's Day in the way that what about the people that didn't celebrate Valentine's Day in the way that they would have hoped or appreciated for, right? So I wanted to come to you guys about self-love today, really just because I remember when my self-love, or my love for myself, self-love, love for self, right? When my love for myself was not at its highest. And because it wasn't at its highest, I kind of based how I looked at things and my perspective and my expectation from other people. I kind of looked at those things on a scale based on what other people had going on around me, rather than looking internally and really trying to figure out what it was that I truly wanted for myself, right? And because of that, it was pretty bad, actually. I wasn't necessarily happy, and I wasn't necessarily happy because I set expectations based on other people's lives and the things that other people around me had going on. And then when the things that I had going on didn't match to, their story, then I was kind of in my feelings, right? And one of the most important things that I've realized is transparency is so important. So instead of me walking around and saying like, oh, I've always had self-love, and this was just easy, it didn't take anything, it came overnight. I'm not gonna lie, it was hard and it was difficult, and it leaves a bitter feeling on you, especially if you're single around the holidays, right? So when I wanted to come to you guys to discuss all things self-love with you, it was really just the idea of realizing how important you are to what you want to manifest. So, okay, Valentine's Day was a couple days ago, and some of us were not booed up, right? Or some of us had expectations of receiving things, but instead we found out that, somebody wanted to spend Friday with us instead of Thursday, and that's technically National Side Chick Day. But that's okay, because technically Friday was also National Singles Day. So, some of us are really out here single and happy and living our best lives, as everybody should be living their best lives regardless. But with the idea of self-love, I always feel like it's so important to just bring to attention how necessary we are to that conversation and how important it is to love on yourself more. So even if it's not Valentine's Day, even if it's just a random Thursday or a random Sunday, I think it's very important to spend time with yourself, because by spending time with yourself, that's usually when you're able to cultivate the most self-love. So I remember before, I used to always feel like I had to roll with friends. Like, oh, I want to go to the movies. I can't go unless my friends are going, or unless I have a date, or unless my boyfriend wants to go. I can't do this unless I have somebody to do it with me. Or, I don't feel comfortable. Who am I going to talk to? And then once I broke that cycle, honestly, shit really became bomb out here. Like, that's when I started meeting the most people. That's when I started networking. That's when I really started to fall in love with myself and everything that I had to offer and what I was able to bring to the table. Because that's when I had to really learn myself. That's when I had to go out and speak to strangers and meet new people. But funny thing about it is the people that I went out and met were people that I probably would have never had conversations with had I gone out with my friends. So when I started to go to events by myself and go to concerts by myself and go to movies by myself, I sound like such a loner, oh my god. But you know what? It's okay. The loner spirit sometimes works out for you pretty well. And it's until I got to that point that I was okay with saying, I'm good with myself. Like, being single is okay. And I feel as though, honestly, sometimes I'm not going to say everybody has attachment issues, because there are some people who are super resistant to the idea of attachment within itself. And that's why we have a lot of people who are like going to be terminally single just because they prefer the idea of it. And that's okay, because life is about whatever makes you happy. But with this whole idea of being single, people don't necessarily try to stay single too long, because they want the idea of having a companion beside them. They love the idea of having a companion beside them, and they loathe the idea of having to do things and spending life alone. But I'm one that appreciates spending life alone, because that's when you really start to learn who you are. That's when you kind of start to eliminate the idea that you have to be attached to a certain person or a certain thing for good things to work out in your life, you know? And it took a while. I'm not going to say it like it's easy. I would go places and really just sit there and be on my phone and like text my friends like, y'all sure you can't come? Or y'all think I should leave? You know what? I'm going to even give y'all a quick little disclaimer. And I hate talking about the things that I go through specifically, but I swear when I always discuss transparency is necessary in order to live like a life of fulfillment, because there's no reason to hide the things that you go through, right? So on Valentine's Day, I was not booed up, right? And it's the first time in a while that I wasn't booed up. But funny enough, I went to an event that my friend was hosting for Valentine's Day, and he was like, just come, dinner is included with your ticket, whatever. You know I'm not missing no meals, especially no good meals at that. So I went, and as soon as I got there, you know, I saw people that I knew that were already booed up. So I'm like, hey, what's up, y'all? And I'm not one that's going to sit next to you guys, but I went and I sat down at my little table for one, with an extra chair there, which was mad awkward. And I'm like, I hope somebody's grandfather does not come talk to me, because the only time when you're by yourself, people that you never want to come up to you are the people that actually do come up to you, right? And then this woman walks up to me, and she just comes and she's like, is this seat taken? She comes and sits next to me, right? And I'm like, no, hey, what's up? How are you? I introduced myself. I'm Aisha. And she's like, yeah, you know, my boyfriend's actually in the band, so he's performing. I'm like, look at God. Like, God is constantly reminding me that I'm never alone. And that, you know, she may have a boyfriend, yeah. And her boyfriend came to the table, and he was mad cool, actually. But it just shows you that, like, it's okay with doing things alone, because things often work out for the greater good. And even when it comes down to self-love, like, I believe as though self-love can be cultivated. Like, we cultivate good vibes. So, like, if you're feeling a little low within yourself, because we all have those days, we all have those months, we all have those years, like, it can get dark sometime. It's always important to remind yourself of who the fuck you are. There's no better way for me to say it. You have to remind yourself that you are like that bossy person that deserves everything that life has to offer you, right? So then for me personally, I like writing. So I'll write myself what it is about me that makes me the best person that I can possibly be in this lifetime. And I know it sounds a little cliche, like you write letters to yourself, but yeah. And then sometimes when I'm really low, or even sometimes when I write in everything, by the way. I write in any notebook that I can find, any piece of paper, anything that I can ball up and throw in a corner. And sometimes it's when I'm just walking around the house and I'm cleaning up, or I'm going through old books that I happen to see things that I've written to myself. And I've actually discussed that with you guys before. Finding things that I've written to myself and looking back like, wow. And sometimes it's just a reminder of how far you've come. And then sometimes it can be a very high moment when you're talking about like how good you feel about yourself. And at this current moment, you're very low within your self-esteem. And sometimes it either sets as a reminder of who you are and why you need to push yourself forward, or it just allows you to reflect and, you know, really take a moment within yourself. So that's my little tip of advice, right? But there are so many different ways that we can just work on better self-love for ourselves. And I promise you, once that clicks for you, everything else clicks around you. Because when you have self-love and confidence within yourself, when you walk through doors, I swear to God, people feel it. People feel that love for yourself when you walk through a door and you honestly could be by yourself and you look as though, and you can tell that the person feels as though they belong in a room. And it's so important that we know our value, because sometimes in life, nobody reminds us of our value. And sometimes we're put in situations that can kind of devalue us and take from our overall positive morale, where we don't necessarily feel as though we're good enough or that we matter or that we deserve to be at the table, when in fact we are worthy. We do deserve blessings and then some. And hell, if you don't feel as though you belong at that table, it's because you're meant to build your own table, right? But it's really important that we carry those things with us, because that's the way that we live a positive life. When you want to start seeing good things happen around you, it all starts here. Like, I'm not going to be like, it all starts here. But not like legit, it all starts here. It all starts in your mind for the things that you want. Because what you want, your body language speaks of it. Like, we're talking before our mouths even start moving. I know people look at me sometimes and they're like, her eyes are telling me everything she feels, which is a really bad thing, because when I'm very tight, people can see that I'm just like, get the 5 seconds from telling you to get all the way away from me. So I'm gonna need 50 feet. But it's also important, because that energy is also captured when you enter rooms, and that's when people gravitate towards you the most, and that's when your opportunities are usually what come to you, and they're able to be pushed and flourished and, you know, spoken into existence. So that is my little tidbit today on self-love, and I hope everybody was able to manifest good vibes. And if they felt as though Valentine's Day wasn't their day, it's okay. We have 364 other days in the year, and we have 200 some odd more going past February, right? You have so many more chances to just love and be loved. It doesn't necessarily matter about one day. One day doesn't take away, and it doesn't equate to what your life actually means and the love that you deserve. There are so many other moments that are going to bring you to love and to light, and all you have to do is know what you want and watch it manifest. So I want to thank you guys for rocking with me with episode number 3 of His Story Her Way, and I am out for the day.
And I said what I said.